Index podcast is brought to you by our staking partner, Marinade Finance. Their latest release, Marinade Select, offers a smarter way to stake, featuring a curated set of high-performing mid-size validators handpicked for yield, professionalism, and their role in making Solana faster and more resilient. Learn more and start staking at marinade.finance. Hey everybody, welcome to the Index. I'm your host, Alex Kehaya, and today I'm excited to sit down with my friend, Jesse Adams, co-founder of UproRock, the mobile-first DePIN network powering decentralized AI infrastructure. Jesse, thanks for coming on the show today.
Hey, Alex, thanks for having me. Excited.
Yeah, good to see you again, man.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, like Jesse's been on the show before. He and I know each other for a long time. We were partners back when I was at Orchid Labs early days, and yeah, we've kind of been through multiple companies and stuff together, like on different, not in the same company, but just like adjacent or like somehow worked with each other on and off for like the last 10 years, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And we always tell this story about how we met. It was on this battleship randomly in San Francisco in 2017. And I literally bumped into him like in line. And we've been working together and friends ever since, which I think is like, I don't know, kind of a cool part of this industry that I really enjoy.
Same here. That's how you know it's a bull run when you meet on a battleship, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's
Exactly.
like a whole bull runs ago. Yes. It's awesome that we've been friends since then and helped each other on different aspects of our work life. So yeah, it really is one of the best parts of this industry, for sure.
So just tell people your story a little bit and like kind of what gets you out of bed in the morning to work on UproRock.
Yeah, well, I'd say, I'm a serial entrepreneur. So before UproRock, I've been working on different mobile startups for the past 15 years. And really where I got my hook into crypto very early on was our first successful tech company was called MyCandy. It was an app store for adults. It's not safe for work. You can look it up if you want to. But essentially it was a third-party app store, and it happened right when Android started growing up, coming out alive. And we were dealing with Operation Choke Point 1.0 with that store. It was an uncensored store. But think of it more like, if App Store is Disneyland, this is Las Vegas. And but the tech issues are still the same. You want to build developer tools, you have SDKs for in-app billing, et cetera, and we're constantly being debanked. And then also we just saw the same issues of censorship happening very early on, and that's got me really I guess excited about learning more about Bitcoin and just alternative crypto payments. That's really kind of gave me the first rabbit hole of crypto. So we sold that company. Got really into the issues of privacy, building a product where it have to be dealing with controversial products on the edge, make it mainstream, but also make it very approachable, and dealing with privacy and security issues for content where you really matters a lot. So we're starting to build like privacy extensions for those customers, like VPN extensions, stuff like that for other browsers. And very quickly we realized we're putting band-aids on other browsers. Why don't we just build a better browser? So that was our crazy idea number 2. And so the first app was about empowering users, about privacy tools. This was really about that. And we built the first fully encrypted mobile browser. And if you're building a browser, you're thinking about the internet or the browser of the future. And so you think about Web3 a lot. So we looked at how do we actually make a browser that people are going to love in the future. And so a lot of like just built things were just built in out of the box as like full VPN controls, .eth domain names actually just loaded without having to install extensions, all those things you really need. And so that was a really great experience for us. We sold that one right before COVID started, to a company called Avast, and they're a huge cybersecurity company. They have 400 million customers, I think, worldwide. And that was a really great experience for us because they also said, hey, they made a good offer, but said you can help, take this browser and protocol and learn how to onboard millions of people, hundreds of millions of people. And that was a really great experience. At the end of the day, I don't really like corporate life, so I finished my earnout. And my same co-founding team, as you know, Chris and CTO, all of them, we still wanted to be in Web3 space. We weren't quite sure what to do next, but we knew what we're good at, and we just loved Web3. We knew the onboarding sucked, and we were in the mobile space for so long. So we started building just mobile onboarding tools first. Like, how do we get people to just auto-generate a wallet for you, and they try Web3? And that was kind of the first basic prototype. And we were using AI tools ourselves. Very early on using DALL-E for ads, and very early on using ChatGPT. And just like everyone else, once it started becoming really effective and real, it just blew our minds. But then very quickly, I saw the same red flags. Like it felt like, okay, this thing is supposed to, I've been in the Web3 space for so long, and the whole promise there is decentralized internet, you own your own data, and now AI is coming through, and it's so awesome, so convenient. It's doing all the same things that the Facebooks and Googles did in the world, where it's so powerfully convenient, you give up all your privacy and data. We're literally just doing that with our prompts all day long. And I thought, if this is the future, where it feels very heavily censored or some arbitrary moderation policy. How is this AI thing trained? Why does it feel like it's lying to me? If this is the future, this sucks. This is against all the Web3 principles that we loved about Web3. And I thought, just from all experience of building a VPN browser, that the whole point of that was to unlock and unblock the internet, free flow of data. How hard it was to do that with 30 VPN locations. And we're like, if this AI internet world is coming very quickly, you cannot unblock or unlock the open data world with just VPN network. It needs everybody, millions of nodes, millions of people's involvement with that. And that was our Eureka moment for UproRock. So we had a very simple tagline. It said, help unblock the internet, provide your unused bandwidth, and you can start earning passive income when you sleep. And that was just a basic tagline. Once we added that tagline, we didn't have to even sell that too much or explain what that means, because I think around the world at the same time, all these people were seeing the same articles that said, like, data is the new oil, AI is coming, AI needs data. Everyone just got it. They just didn't know how to participate. So when you make that really simple, hey, download our app, within 1 minute, you can participate in this data goldmine, earn your fair share, and be part of Web3. That was like the hook. Yeah. And then we started taking off pretty quickly. So that was the progression from the multiple startups to UproRock.
Well, the thing that you guys have always been really good at is user acquisition for cheap, right? And I think this is the third trip around. And you guys have gotten very good at, like, I remember from our Orchid days learning from you about, like, ad spend and converting that into paid customers for My Candy, and then for the VPN company, and especially in the VPN space, it's like hyper competitive. And I remember talking to you about that, and you guys had a real edge, had figured that out. And I think this is now like the third trip around the sun for you is with a company, and now your cost of acquisition was basically zero, using essentially just like what is now a classic DePIN strategy, like decentralized physical infrastructure, right? Like tokenize physical infrastructure and the service that infrastructure can provide. What is that service? Can you talk about, like, I have a pretty good understanding of it, but if you could explain it, what people were actually doing when they signed up, what they were providing to the network, and why they were paid for that.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to how AI tools are powerful, AI needs two things: it needs compute and data. And so there's one kind of data, which is the data you train the AI on. And then there's the second type, which is real-time data for that AI to be able to access the internet like its own your own personal database, query the data, that network, get data, and then complete some tasks from that the agent wants. Today, that glue is missing. It's either blocked by companies, or it's just you're using companies like proxies that are really expensive and inefficient. So the average person doesn't know how to set up a proxy. So their own personal agent doesn't know how to actually access real-time data. Same with companies. They also need this a lot. If you're going to be able to crawl the internet at scale at the AI needs, you also are spending a lot of money on proxies. And that's also highly inefficient than versus a task-based or a job-based system where you just orchestrate tasks that are spent out in microtransactions, only possible with crypto, send tasks at a time, and people can complete those tasks. So when a user installs our apps, we do not ask for any permissions we don't need. So this is not a browser extension on your personal browsing history. This is a standalone app, a sandbox app, and it's like a headless browser in the background where we complete tasks or load sites based on your course IP location. And then we grab that data, usually structured down to a markdown file or something like this, and we can sell that to a company that needs that real-time data from that IP address. Yeah, so that's what users are doing. For most users, we don't need to actually explain all that. We try to make the blockchain part invisible. And the idea is like they understand real-time data is the key. And we make it really engaging for people to keep the app open through games, surveys, shopping, things like that. Things they're already doing on their device, actually.
Yeah, so you guys just are allowing people to monetize their bandwidth. And the thing that your customers pay for is just data. They're scraping the internet
Yeah.
and getting data that they can use for like a lot of things. One of those things is AI, training AI. And for people who don't realize this, like this is a task that OpenAI did. They scraped the entire internet. Like they have like a repository of everything that's ever been on the internet. And that was a massive task. It was, I venture to bet it cost them tens of millions of dollars, maybe more, to get all that data that then they then trained OpenAI, their large language learning model on. And this is what I love about UproRock is it fits really nice into this thesis I've been developing on this show about open intelligence, right? Like open source AGI on crypto rails. And this is one of, if you think of it like an assembly line for like how you build AGI that's actually open source and runs on crypto rails.
Yeah.
It needs a lot of data. It needs an efficient way to feed it this AGI data so that it can learn and become generally intelligent and eventually have super intelligence.
Yeah.
So I view what you guys are doing as like a core building block of AI that is open and available for everybody. Because I think that's like there's all the privacy concerns, but then there's like this existential threat that if we just don't have the ability to make AI that everyone has access to, it's kind of a problem.
Yeah, I mean, we call that internally a knowledge abstraction layer. You can also call it real-time web intelligence platform. Yeah, but that is really it, because like you said, there's going to be one form or all, there's the type of data where it trains the initial model. But for your AI agent or LLMs to be real-time relevant, it needs to be able to crawl the internet AI scale. And not just for big companies. Today, big companies have the money to use proxies. Even proxies are highly inefficient. There's a lot of latency issues. It has to go to the proxy server, then to the device, and back through the whole tunnel. Then you're missing all the local IP location, because today the internet is dynamic. So if I load a site from the same URL, whether it's a social media comment or a news site or a product, inventory levels, whatever your trend, topic, product, whatever you're trying to do research on, the same URL will look different for me than for you, than from someone in New York, someone in Turkey, etc. So if you want to feed an AI model to say, hey, what is going on in this particular area of the world, or this particular topic or trend or product that I really care to learn more about, you're going to actually want to load that site from many local devices so you can see what real humans see, then encrypt that data, put that all together, and then the AI can provide some analysis for you. So now you have far superior real-time relevant insights. And this is key. And you want to be able to democratize that. It really is only possible with crypto payments, because you're facilitating millions and millions of small microtransactions worldwide, and it was not possible before. The current way of how I'm pretty sure all scrapers today use some kind of proxy network that have an open port on your device. So there's security issues there. There are some ways to alleviate that, but there are security issues there. It's just highly inefficient too, because you're basically leaving that device open. The device's radio signal is just constantly on. It drains the battery, and it's just waiting for it.
And so yours isn't like that. Yours doesn't work like that.
It is not.
It's explaining to me, because it's not really a proxy. Is it a proxy network?
It is not a proxy.
What is it
at all? Maybe the best way to describe it is like a distributed work system, or it's just task-based system. Mm-hmm. So it's like when we have our crawler server, and basically it'll ping devices, wake them up, and if it's available, we send them a task. If that task is completed, they earn a token and then send the data back. And then the device goes back to sleep. In a proxy version, you're literally leaving that port open for minutes or hours, and even on iOS, they have quotas about how long you can use that. So it just drains the battery. It's just super inefficient, but that's how it's been done till today. Because how do you incentivize real device network worldwide to keep the app running and care about it?
I didn't know this about I thought it was a proxy network the whole time. So that's new information for me. Yeah, because that's interesting. So your technology is, so one aspect that has always been exciting to me of this is for a fraction of the cost, you guys have 2 million IPs.
Yeah,
So
we've been over 2.7 million, almost 2.7 million installs worldwide at a fraction of the cost. Yeah.
Because what would it take for some proxy company to have 2.7 million residential IPs in their portfolio to sell to other people?
I would say, just on iOS alone, you're paying on average $2-3 per install. That's on the cheap end. And even on Android, maybe 50 cents to $1 or more, right?
Yeah, but they wouldn't even be able to get people to do this on an iOS device.
That's like that.
Right, like that, like they would be buying these IPs from like us. They'd be setting up servers in these areas to get these IPs, right?
Usually
That's the traditional way.
or maybe they'll sell a free VPN, or they provide an SDK to other game developers. So their actual customers are the game or app developers. So they're trying to maintain an app developer network. And that's really how they're maintained.
Trojan horse it.
Yeah.
So they Trojan horse it in without even the users really realizing it, through other games, and then a free game is really selling your data.
Exactly. Exactly.
This is what free VPN is selling your data using this proxy service. Is like one of the ways they do it.
That's exactly right. And this is why they usually ask for a proxy or VPN connection, because they're doing it that inefficient way of, hey, if we keep your device open, we can send tasks in.
It's so shitty because it's not transparent either, right? It's not transparent. Like, yeah. And so you guys are just upfront about it. Everybody knows that that's what's happening. And you're also paying people for that information. Right. And it's more efficient. So your technology is better and the business process is just better. And the cost is it's orders of magnitude less. Because you guys basically did it for free, right? Like, I don't think you spent money on this acquisition, right?
Yeah, because, from back to the App Store, we knew that company couldn't get funded. So we had to figure out how to build our own distribution channels. We couldn't go to the mainstream stores because we were blocked. And so we learned how to build up our own traffic with content marketing. That's a particular creative brain muscle that you have to practice and really strengthen. So I really got really good at that. There's communities around every piece of content or whatever product you're doing that's already out there on WhatsApp and Instagram and Reddit. And how do you engage them and get them to come on board? So we were able to do a lot of that. Affiliate traffic and affiliate programs are also a big deal in every space you're on, because you want third party to validate what you're building so people trust you faster. I don't think people realize how important that is for reviews. Like we have really figured out how to get great reviews on Apple and Android, really sincere reviews. We have, I think, 220,000 reviews on mobile. Yeah. And majority are, it's pretty much 4.8, 4.9 star ratings across all iOS and Android. And so we've really figured out how to do that well. Really down to very technical details, like when to ask, how to ask, what if they say no to give the review? What do you do at that point? Do you show them a survey? How do you capture 1-star reviews, turn into a 5-star review? Like all those things we just learned, just being in the mobile space for so long. And bringing pre-scrap because we didn't have the budget to buy installs all day. It's just really expensive to do so.
How big is your team?
We have a dozen full-time people. We have some contractors. On the scraper and the uptime service that we do, we are open sourcing those tools. So we have a developer program, we have grant program, and so this is the first startup where I'm actually using a lot more contractors and open source developers than the previous companies, where we're pretty just private company, small like ninja team. This time we're really opening it up and building in public, building with other people, a lot more than we ever have. Yeah.
That's very fun. I'm obsessed with that. That's the only way
I don't to be free. It's hard, but man, it's really great. We do a live stream ourselves every Thursday. So we build in public. It is kind of like doing your weekly check-in stand-ins, but with your entire community, and which is amazing because it's a good forcing function for our team to actually have something to deliver every week. We don't want to look bad. We want to have something to show progress. And it's just great to have your own distribution channel. So it's very, very founder-led marketing. We live by that. It's not like, not everyone's good at it, and we're still getting better at it too. But I just highly recommend it. So yeah, it's just kind of also the open source kind of mentality, I think.
And like thousands of people too.
Yeah. So we have like 10 to 15,000 people watch that thing across all the channels, and it's great because it's like we have our little tribe. So when we push out an update, we know we can get thousands of reposts and posts, and to pay for any of that. So it goes back to just good content marketing, good guerrilla marketing.
Nice.
Yeah.
What have been some of the hardest things about building this company?
The hardest things?
Yeah, what's been like the most challenging?
Let's see. I think the most challenging is I used to say we're a two-sided platform. We have the consumer reward program. So we have where you can download iOS and Android, and that's feeding our SaaS platform. So just building two companies is hard, but when you use AI tools, you really can do a lot more with less. But we actually are building, it's actually a three-sided platform because it's the crypto and token side, and managing that part of it is actually a whole nother thing. And when you're in deep in space, yeah, supply and demand. And we thought about this very, very early on, but it's still a lot of work to do three. So it's not really two, it's more like three. And that, that's an issue. So if we don't take your token seriously, why should anyone else, right? And so we have to always protect it. There's scammers and farmers and all that stuff. And we have to watch our liquidity pools, which is a cool thing because you can earn fees. I would tell people I have a two-sided platform, which is hard to build. You have the supply and demand for any DePIN. So the supply is this consumer app. We're trying to build the world's best reward program on Android or iOS. That's feeding our SaaS platform at prison.uprock.com. So our team are building two products. But with AI tools, you should be able to do more with less. But really, if I'm going to be honest with you, it's actually a three-sided platform because we have the token too. And that's a whole other business. And so I think the challenging thing is just juggling all three. You have to watch your liquidity pools. You have farmers and scammers are always, there's always an issue. So it just takes resources to monitor your token all the time. And you have to do it because if you don't care, why would anyone else care, right?
What AI tools are you using? Just curious.
Oh, gosh, we use pretty much all of them. We cross-reference Claude, Grok, ChatGPT. We use it with our cursor editor. We have ChatGPT we use Copilot, and we also use it as a reviewer. So when you check in code, the AI actually is a reviewer, make sure, and it's pretty awesome. It'll say stuff like, this is a pretty significant bug. I definitely recommend fixing this. This is minor. You can think about it if you don't want to. It's like pretty detailed. We also use it for everything from screenshot optimization, from the App Store optimization, how the keywords for our homepage for everything above the fold. Used to take a month and some money to create 100 ads and get some custom photography or art. All that now we do in a weekend. We'll create 100 different ad groups, 100 different, we'll have the AI say, as an expert marketer, here's our product, come up with like 20 different ideal customer use cases, or actually the ideal customers down to the person's name, their background, history, etc. Come up with some good keyword topics. What are some good images that might help attract that type of person with our messaging? We put all that into a ChatGPT, all that into like a Google Ads, maybe throw like $500 or $1,000 to it. And then from there, we can see which keywords and which ads worked. Because one of the problems with AI is not only is it so much output, it can be like analysis paralysis. You have so much content for you, like which one's better? And so the tools themselves are not baked in with any this is the ones you should choose. They can give you 100 prompts real fast. They'll give me 100 variations, but they won't tell you which two will perform the best in real life. And so you want to actually have some kind of other tool to say, we got 100 versions of something. Let's see which one's the best and which one has the best click-through rate. And those are to be the ones that we're going to actually use for our screenshots, for the homepage, for our welcome screen, And so it's just a really better way to create a lot of content for A/B testing.
Dude, I'm going to do that. I just used a Codex to build a launch site for myself for this thing that we're about to announce. And I think I could just do some Google ads like ahead of it.
Yep.
Spend like $500 per ad and like really, really hone in the messaging and make sure I got it right for the target audience.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Like even pre-launch, even before we announce, because it's not like that's going to alpha leak out and then be like, ruin the announcement.
Exactly. And, actually the apps, both App Stores, the Play Store and the App Store, has this thing called a pre-registration program where it's a lot cheaper to buy pre-registrations because it's not an actual install before you launch your app or your DApp. And what's cool about that is, it's a fraction of the cost. And once someone opts in to say pre-register, when your app is actually live, it'll pre-install your app on the device. So one of the really good growth hacks is you want to get a ton of pre-registrations because once your app is live, you'll have an instant install base of 10 or 20,000. And the number you really want is 10,000 installs per platform because everyone knows this themselves. If you search for an app, like whatever, it looks up image editing tools, and you look at the first page, all the apps that have 10,000 installs or less, you pretty much ignore. You're like, this is probably not good. And so you kind of look at that first basic number. So like in the beginning, you really want to figure out how do I get to my first 10,000 installs fast? Then the conversion rate of traffic to install ratio increases very dramatically.
So you're saying for like an app, is this Android only or does this work on iOS too?
Has it too. iOS has it too.
So you can do like a pre-launch campaign where people basically pre-install it, and then the second it actually is released,
Yeah.
it just auto-installs.
Installs. Yeah.
I did not know that. That's really
And
cool.
there's a whole funnel there about once that happens, make sure you ask for that review. There's a lot of things you can do there to really like jumpstart your community, including also the tokens that you're issuing for early, early beta testers and early pre-registration users. You can also token incentivize that, like just for being a pre-registration user. So, and then once you get those install natives up, you want to ask for reviews, be smart about that. And this is how you can really get a ton of installs. And what's great about that is you have a lot of folks that are really excited about trying it out right in the early stages. And they're to be the most active about being more patient with you, giving you great feedback. And in the early times is when you need that feedback the most,
What do you use to actually ask for the reviews? Is there like a plugin or something, or do you just like have a pop-up window that says, hey, when they try to sign out or before they switch screens, like how does that work?
Oh yeah. So we built our own survey system and push notification system. So we actually, this is just because we've done that many times before. So we just be able to push cards through Firebase and anytime you want to. So for example, we did a survey, just wanted to know how many people have ever heard of the concept of a Web3 wallet or crypto wallet. And it was a little more in depth than that. But a bunch of other questions, just kind of suss out, understand our customer base, how familiar with what they are. And about 200,000 people responded to that thing. And 47% said, this is my first time with a crypto wallet. And so that's pretty cool. We actually onboarded tons of people to Web3. And that was a great survey. So we get a lot of feedback there. Of course, we have Discord like everyone else. And the live streams help a lot. And then we just set up Zendesk and email tickets too. But we go through the reviews. But a big part of it is those surveys, just directly asking questions, getting feedback.
Are you doing all this ad stuff yourself? Like you're the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like me. I'm the only BD guy on the team. So I'm like, all of it is basically me, all the go-to-market. It's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, even every few channels you add on to your company, it requires just one person to tackle. Just like handling Discord and Telegram is just a lot of work just right there. When you add Zendesk, another few hours per week, and you try to use AI as much as you can across all of those things.
So you have like a chatbot integrated into all of them that like answers questions for people and like.
Yeah. We set up a chat. We have the ultimate goal is for our own Rocket chat to dog food our own API. So that if they ask questions about the real-time internet, you should be able to just do that through our own app using our own API. But for other things like the Discord, we have a bot kind of trained on what Uprock's, the information about UproCK. Same with Zendesk. We feed the bot with all the information about UproCK, so it can be a good customer support engine for us. Yeah.
So we're getting towards the top of the show here. I always ask the same question. What have I not asked you that I should have asked or that you wanted to talk about?
Oh, I'd say, we talked a lot about the consumer side on onboarding, but I think maybe talking more about the demand side, because every DePIN, a lot of companies last year got funded or launched their TG last year. And it's all about building up the network and infrastructure. And I think this year is a year where all those DePINs have to, prove they can actually deliver on the demand of the data that they're generating. So we have the products called prison.uprock.com. The core product is this web scraper powered by the community, powered by the largest mobile first DePIN on Solana. And then we have a distributed uptime service. So that same network can be actually not only crawl websites and gather data, but can be like a watchdog network for your own digital infrastructure. So we love for people to try that out. It's in open beta now. Anyone can go in and sign up and try it for free. There's a survey form there. We love for people to just give it a shot. It's the first time it's ever been built this way. Typically with an uptime service, you're using servers to tell you how fast is your site or whether it's up or down, and you're maybe pinging 20 data centers around the world. With the UproRock way, we actually can tell you exactly how fast you're seeding your website or your mission critical APIs from every major country, major city on earth, because that's how many installs we have. So it's a far superior product and a better way to monitor your performance and get better data so you can make faster decisions to improve it. And that scraper is also, we're giving out API keys for that. So that is a limited access, 50 gigabytes a month. But you are an agent. You're building an agent, an LLM model, or you need to build to get hyper local web scraping at AI scale. We'd love to hear from you. So those are the areas I'd love to talk about more.
And I think that's where you and I can work together with the thing we're launching, because we're obviously building the 402 payment standard on Solana now. And I talked about that a couple episodes ago with Namil from Coinbase.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And that conversation led us to actually go start shipping that. And I think one key part of that is, one, we should make sure you guys are a vendor, like an API provider. And then two, I think like either we could do it or the agents can do it, but we can use it for quality control, right? Like you can test every single API across multiple geos, once a day, twice a day. Like, I don't know what the cadence would need to be, but you can just ensure that like all these people who are supplying APIs to the marketplace are up and providing good service. And you can kind of give a rank that then the agents can use to try to say, okay, I have to get this job done. This is my task.
Yeah.
And I need to go do all these things. And then it can do those things in the most, and know that like, oh, if I get these 5 APIs to do the thing I got to do, they're going to work.
100%. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The 402 thing you're talking about is great. I mean, as we know in crypto, when you make everything more liquid, everything is just better. So small microtransactions on the internet, small data transactions, everything more liquid, the better. Yeah.
Well, Jesse, thanks for coming on the show, man. It's been good to have you.
Yeah, same. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate you.